Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me for this week's Object Talk. My name is Emma, and I am an Engagement Officer at the Jewish Museum London. And I'm really excited that this week is the first of a series of Object Talks where we are inviting external partners in to deliver an Object Talk on an item in or linked to our collection. And so I am joined today by Esther Sills, who is a Programme Manager at the Council of Christians and Jews. Thank you so much for joining me today, Esther.
No, that's okay. It's lovely to be here.
So Esther is going to be talking about a temporary online exhibition that you can find on our museum website that is called The Little Squares of Hope, Shelter from the Storm, Sukkah. I will hand over to you, Esther.
So, hello everyone. My name is Esther. I am the Programmes Manager at the Council of Christians and Jews, CCJ, where I lead on their social action initiatives. CCJ is the National Forum for Christian Jewish Engagement and operates through the three-tiered model of dialogue, education and social action to tackle discrimination and promote a society that is built on respect, understanding and a tolerance of all people irrespective of faith, identity or belief. CCJ was founded by the Archbishop of Canterbury and the Chief Rabbi in 1942 in support of the many refugees at the time who were fleeing Nazi Europe. And today, amongst a wide range of programmes, this welcoming and supporting of those experiencing displacement continues to be an intrinsic part of our work.
Thank you, Esther. We were really thrilled when the Council of Christians and Jews and you, Esther, approached us to be part of this amazing project, linked together with JW3 as well, who were hosting the physical installation of this sukkah. Now, this Object Talk, as well as being the first of a series linked with our external partners, is also the first Object Talk in October, where our theme of the month is diversity, where we will be sharing objects from our collection that give minority Jewish communities a voice and minority communities more broadly. And so this installation, this sukkah, this project is absolutely perfect to fit in with this week. And Esther is going to tell us more about it.
Great, thank you, Emma. So if we begin our PowerPoint presentation, that would be great. So I'm really excited and grateful to be participating in the Jewish Museum's Objects Talk. As Emma mentioned, today the object I will be discussing is the Little Squares of Hope, Shelter from Storm Sukkah, which has been launched in collaboration with the Jewish Museum London and JW3. The Little Squares of Hope, Shelter from Storm project was coordinated by CCJ in commemoration of the Jewish festival Sukkot. Sukkot this year takes place from the evening of Friday the 2nd of October until Friday the 9th of October. So for those of our viewers who are currently celebrating Sukkot, I wish you a Chag Sameach, a happy Sukkot. The Hebrew word Sukkot translates as tabernacles or booths and commemorates the 40-year post-Exodus period of displacement in which the Jewish people wandered the desert and lived nomadically in frail huts. In remembrance of this period of wonder, many Jews will construct and dwell in their own temporary shelters during this festival. The Hebrew word sukkah is often used when referring to such a booth. If we move on to the next slide, please. On this slide, we have some images from the Jewish Museum's database of people in a sukkah. On the left is a group of students in the JFS school sukkah, which has been dated to be between 1960 and 1975. And on the right, a photograph of children of the Jewish orphanage Norwood seated at the festive table in their sukkah with the principal, Dr. Edward Conway and Mrs. Conway, which has been dated between approximately 1955 and 1958. You may notice on the left image, there are decorations hanging from the sukkah roof. This is because decorations, often with a symbolic meaning, are used by many Jews to dress their sukkah. In this particular sukkah, fruits have been used as decorations, and this is because traditionally, Sukkot has also been a time when the harvest of seasonal fruits has been celebrated. Therefore, some Jews will choose to decorate their sukkah with imagery of fruits to mark this period as a time of agricultural celebration, as well as historical commemoration. If we move on to the next slide, please. So the theme marked by Sukkot of displacement and temporary shelter is far from obsolete. And at CCJ, we believe that now more than ever, it is crucial for the resonance of this festival to be elevated. The right to shelter and safety is a basic human right, which no person should be robbed of. Yet, we are living in a time where, in the past year alone, a record 79.5 million people have been projected into their own exile, forced to wander and left without refuge. It is for this reason that we launched the Little Squares of Hope Shelter from Storm project, a project which sought to bring Sukkot's core themes into a contemporary context by amplifying the voices of those with experience of displacement and showcasing the essence of this festival in a unique and impactful manner. The Little Squares of Hope Shelter from Storm project brought together refugee and faith communities across the UK, alongside 15 leading organisations in refugee rights, to creatively explore the concept of shelter. Each participant provided with a fabric square onto which they expressed their experiences and perspectives of shelter through the medium of art. If we move on to the next slide, please. As we can tell from the samples shared on the slide, the meaning of shelter for many of our participants far transcended the mere requirement of a roof overhead. For some, true shelter was somewhere where they could be free, somewhere where they could access education, somewhere where the trauma of the past could wash away. Accompanying these pieces of art were 7 information squares. And if we move on to the next slide, please. Each one reflecting one of the 7 character traits of the Ushpizin or Ushpizot, the 7 supernal guests whose spirits visit during Sukkot, which one is encouraged to emanate. From accountability to benevolence, connection to leadership, as outlined in each of these written reflections, all 7 traits carried much salience in the narrative of constructing a refuge system that is just and humane. Once complete, all squares were sewn together to create a quilt. If we move on to the next slide, please. And this quilt then used to dress the walls of a sukkah pitched at JW3 Jewish Community Centre and exhibited virtually by the Jewish Museum. In quilting these individual experiences, art was able to serve not only as an important outlet or platform for experience to be heard, but as a thread of common humanity, building connection and bringing people closer together, providing us all with the stark reminder that Sukkot's theme of displacement carries much contemporary salience, that we must construct a society that treats all people with dignity, hearing those who have been left without, and to listen, not with skepticism nor a hostile mind, but with compassion and a human heart, to implement the change we need to see and to build a world where, when projected into an exile of their own, those in need are able to find shelter from storm. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Esther, for such an interesting object talk for this week. And thank you for all your work on this project. It really is incredibly powerful to look through all the different squares and see all the different themes and all the different emotions that are so strongly portrayed in them. And I would recommend to everybody watching this video to do go onto that online exhibition. The link is in the description of this video. There you can see images of the sukkah, you can see all the different squares with all the different illustrations and have a look at the reflections. So do take a look at that exhibition, and thank you once again, Esther, for joining us for this week's object talk. Thank you everyone for watching. Do join us again next week at the same time for the next in our series of object talks on the theme of diversity, where we will be looking at the Indian Jewish community. See you there.